call this meeting Wichita County Commissioners Court order. Everyone please rise. You all will join me in a moment of prayer. Father God, we come together with the blessings of the rain and the country that you've given us to live in, and the fellowship that is brought together in this room, this county, throughout this country. And yet, Lord, we sometimes don't understand those that draw in feelings and prejudice and misgivings and spread their venom upon others. Father, let us look and let us let you lead our way and forgive us when we fall short. Father, watch out over those that serve, that are in the first lines, those first responders, those in uniform, both locally and abroad. It's Father, in your Son's name we ask these things. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take seats, please. Well, we have a special presentation this morning, and the neat thing about it is it's our local Red Cross chapter is coming to make this award for one of our family members who did something above and beyond the call of duty. Mary, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you.
Okay.
And you can introduce who you want to.
I will.
All of you.
So first I want to say thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to do this today. We're so excited to be able to honor one of our own, one of our heroes in the local community. And so, Cherie, why don't you come on up here so we can get a good look at you. And let me stand right here. That's right. I know. And next I'm going to ask our Red Crossers to stand because our Red Crossers are here to honor you. So they're our Red Cross family, and they're here locally to honor you. And so I'm going to pass it over to Todd St. Clair, and Todd's going to introduce what he does, and he's our big wig, so I'm going to let him talk.
Okay, my name is Todd St. Clair. I am a regional manager for the American Red Cross. I cover Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. And I was asked to come up here and celebrate life-saving. So, I don't know. This will be fun. All right. I want to read this citation about what occurred. So this is for Cherie Wallace. I said that right. Okay. On January 24, 2019, Cherie Wallace, trained in American Red Cross Adult Child First Aid CPR AED, helped to save a life of a young girl who began to choke at Wichita County Juvenile Detention Center in Wichita Falls, Texas. During lunch, a young girl was eating and began to choke. Ms. Wallace ran towards the young girl and started administering back blows until the food was dislodged. Without a doubt, the skills learned in the American Red Cross Training Services course helped to save the life of this young girl. For this act, Cherie Wallace has been awarded the American Red Cross Life Saving Award. This is one of the highest awards given by the American Red Cross to an individual or team of individuals who saves or sustains a life by using skills and knowledge learned in the American Red Cross Training Services course. The certificate bears the signature of the President and CEO of the American Red Cross and the signature of the Chairman of the American Red Cross. This action exemplifies the highest degree of concern of one human being for another who is in distress. And here's the Life Saving Award.
Thank y'all. I didn't ever think I was going to be able to use my skills, but I'm glad I did. So thank you all for coming out for me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming up here. Do you want to introduce the rest of, because some of the people you have here, we will work with, unfortunately, in times of disaster.
Some of them. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I pass the mic and y'all can tell what you do? Stand up.
I'm Lisa Morgan. I'm the Regional Communications Manager for the North Texas region of American Red Cross.
I'm the one Woody's talking about. I'm Linda Stevenson. I'm the Disaster Program Manager for Wichita Falls and the surrounding communities.
Hi, I'm Courtney Heptig, and I am a Senior Volunteer Recruitment Specialist for the Metro West area. And if you want to learn more about volunteering with us, feel free to talk to me after. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vicki Payne. I live here. I'm a Red Cross volunteer, and we need more Red Cross volunteers here desperately.
Vicki, pass that to Kurt Wolf. Commissioners know Kurt, because we see him for different presentations. Introduce the rest of your people, because one of the commissioners said to me, he said, who are all those people? I said, well, they're people that you ought to know, because they're very important.
Well, let's see who we've got here. John Jordan, he's a juvenile supervision officer there, and Cruz Watkins, she's an administrative assistant. McCall Harper, she's a JPO. Les Hungerford, he's one of our counselors. And Nathan C., he's a JPO. Ashley Christensen, she is a JSO. Tisha McCrary, she is our training officer that helps conduct all the training through the Red Cross and other trainings that we have to do. Sabrina Lucky, she is our social worker for the JPD. Eddie Kennedy, he's our deputy chief over the detention center, and appreciate all those guys being here. And Meredith Kennedy, she's our counsel for the as everyone knows. And one of the things, we train a lot over at juvenile probation and detention, and a lot of times we train for things that rarely happen or sometimes never happen. But the key to that training is listening to it and always being prepared. And when this incident came up, Cherie was prepared. She listened to the training. Thank goodness we don't have incidents like that happen. I think that's the first I recall of in my 32 years of working at juvenile probation that we've ever had anything like that happen. But Cherie was well trained and she was prepared, and here she is today. Thank you, Cherie.
Do you want a picture of your team out in the hallway?
Sure.
Here, I don't know if they have time for it here.
You're right here. Got everybody out.
Also-
I got them organized, I keep them there.
Also, Judge, this right here is my grandmother, Tiny Smith.
I want to try to stand up and give him a
Get in there.
honorary guest up front.
Oh, yeah, let me be up front. I'll kneel down, y'all.
Sherry, you are so tall. Oh, okay. One of you and your grandmother sitting on. Okay. Oh, is that step?
Yeah.
Not all of them apart. Well, let's see.
There you go. There's,
Okay. That'll work. Awesome. Oh, sorry. You go ahead. No, go ahead. Video before stills, I think.
Do we need to get out of the shot?
No, you're fine. We can crop you up.
yeah, it's very safe.
You taught them well.
All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Good job, Sheree. Thank you. Do I have to work today?
Hey, John.
You're the former principal here at Wichita Falls?
I'll see you
But
later.
I do,
All right, see you.
Thank you, and look at our crew out
All
there.
right. That's where I will.
I'll see you in the corner. I know this, but with it.
Carrie, Commissioner Harvey.
Hey, just real quick, American Red Cross, a lot of people don't understand what they do and how they impact lives. My company sent me to get my CPR class, and, you know, that way when something happens at work, you know, we can help each other. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would have used that at home. My 15-month-old daughter drowned in our pool. And she was in there about 45 minutes before we found her. But because I learned infant CPR through the American Red Cross, my daughter's still with us today. And without that training, I would have lost my baby. So, oh, she's 28 now. Hey, and she turned out to be a pretty good kid. She was athlete of the year for the state of Texas. Graduated, went to college, was the NCAA freshman of the year, pitched a perfect game against Missouri. But the coolest thing is she made straight A's all the way through college. She is the contracts administrator for Shepherd Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good stuff, huh?
Yes.
Thank you for helping me.
Your mother was a great influence.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You never know. You never know when you're gonna need it. And I would have never thought that I would have needed it on my own baby.
Can you imagine if you hadn't had it?
No, I couldn't. I'd have been in a mental institution. It would happen under my watch. My wife was not at home. Oops. Yeah. It would have been bad. But anyway,
I think you've got
you
it.
never know.
You
You never know how much of impact you make. You know, you go through the motions, you teach them every day, and people go out the door and you never see them again. What you trained me to do made a big difference in my life.
What a great story. Thank you.
It's
a wonderful story. And thank you again for letting us.
Oh, thank you all.
We really appreciate it. Okay, we'll get out of here.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, I ask the court to review and take action on the consent agenda.
Judge, motion approved. Second.
Any comments, questions, anything on the consent agenda items? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 1 on general business is review and approve the regular bills for payment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Muller to approve the bills. All those in favor, or anyone, I'm sorry, any questions, anyone in the audience, comments? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item number 2 is discuss, consider, take action to set the holiday schedule for the calendar year 2020.
Here we go.
It's the same holidays as we've usually had.
I'm counting 13, is that correct?
That's correct.
Motion to accept the presented.
I have a question. How come we need to take off on Christmas?
Yeah, darn right. Work on through.
You know, we just about got this whittled down to where it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only counting 11. I may be missing something.
No, it's 2 for Christmas.
Oh, that, they're additional days, okay.
You can opt to only take one day if you want to.
Somebody get any?
Yeah. Well, they'll get them, but not on that day.
We could get rid of Columbus Day and President's Day. We would be like the real people.
Still have fewer than TxDOT.
Don't make too wrong, don't make a ride, boy. It's already been motion and seconded, I guess we vote for our control.
No, haven't got a second.
You got a second yet?
Did I? Who?
I thought Barry did.
Yes. Okay. Not in my mind, he didn't.
It's not on the sheet.
It's not on the
Not
sheet.
official.
Yeah.
Not
Okay,
official.
any other comments, anyone in the audience? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Item 3 is discuss, consider, take action, to select an energy provider for Wichita County facilities. Mr. Commissioner Watts?
Yes, I spoke to Carrie just a little bit earlier, and she has some updates for us, and I'll just let her speak. Carrie?
Okay, thank you. Judge, thank you, and
Yes, ma'am.
commissioners, thank you for allowing us to participate in your bid and have the opportunity to be your provider for electricity. we've worked very hard in trying to keep our rate as low as possible because we know your budget is very important to you, as long as possible in securing that term. Sometimes with the long term, when securing a long term, we have changes over time, just like 10 years ago. What's being offered today wasn't offering then. And we're projecting a lower rate at the time that the contract's going to be starting in 2025 through the 30. But we extended that term, okay, to where now we're a little 2 years, 24 months off of what you're being offered from Reliant, okay? We're added 13,000 in rebate dollars for you. We've increased that amount. The rate dropped just a little, back down from the 2.488 to 0.02456, okay? We're gonna
State that again, Carrie.
0.02456 right now. Now those rates, because of the volatility in the market, can be pulled at any time. They're good. We just have to keep refreshing them as we move forward. Contracts for 68 months. Anytime between that, again, like I said, we're forecasting, we have experts up at TXU that is forecasting those rates to be that low at that time. So there is no risk of taking a look at what we're going to be, we can offer you between now and then to extend if need, you know, when the time is right, okay? And to see if there's any other type of opportunities that can benefit the county, such as the rebate dollars. There could be other things that are available to you. Anything in a longer term, you might not be able to take advantage of something like that, if you understand what I'm saying. So, do you have any questions?
You added $13,000 to the rebate?
$13,000 rebate.
So what is the rebate now that you added 13,000?
No, I said the rebates went to 13,000.
Went to 13.
Yes,
Okay.
it was it? I think 9.
It was at 11 something.
Yeah, it's gone from 12 to 9 and then back up. We've adjusted it some. So it changes as the market changes.
Is that one time or per year or?
I believe they're going to give you 24 months to use that when the contract starts, from the date of the contract.
How would we use it?
Go ahead.
Well, any type of energy efficiency. So, you know, our goal is for y'all to use less power, right? So to make you more energy efficient. So whether that's a lighting retrofit, could be a refrigerator in the break room, right? That's, I mean, it's dollar per dollar. So you spend 13 grand, you send us the bill on it, we cut you a check for that.
Right.
So whether you use 5,000 in one top, and then 6 months later you use the rest of it, it's to allocate how you want to, but it's anything to make you more energy efficient, like say, you know, could be as an HVAC compressor, could be lighting retrofit again, so that makes sense.
Pay app we can give them next week, so.
Yeah.
Pardon?
So we have a pay app we can give you next week.
So the tenor on it, the contract tenor, you know, that's a financial term obviously, but the tenor would be 12 years from today. So that contract end date, even though it's a 68-month term, it's a 12-year tenor. That contract's ending in May of 2031.
We'd also had, wasn't it 99 months supposedly?
Yes. Okay, so we have an updated rate from Reliant, which is going to have a difference between carries. It's going to be higher by 0.00243.
What is the rate? Don't give me the higher, just tell me.
0.02699.
Okay.
That's Reliant.
And carry your point, 02.
456.
456.
What happened to the point 02385?
Market
Market
volatility.
moved up.
Movement in the market.
Missed it.
So how long is this fixed?
68 months.
No, 02456.
Oh, we refresh those rates daily.
So if we select and then you refresh tomorrow and it's higher than Reliance,
We have a contract right now.
It won't
for-
be higher than Reliance, there's no way, because even though that, you said it was 2699, is that correct?
Uh-huh, .02699.
So that's basically 2.7 cents. Ours is at 2.45 cents. That deviation, you wouldn't, so what I'm saying is if the market moves up, it will also affect their price. So I'm not gonna move up higher than them. So if my price moves up from today versus tomorrow, it may be 2488 or 2475. It's not gonna go from 24 to 246, and above.
so how do you lock in the 245?
I have a contract for you to.
Contract signature.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep.
It locks it when signed, in other words.
Correct, sir. Yes, sir.
And you changed the rate 8 months, is that correct?
Extension, yes, extended at 8 months. That is correct.
Bear with me 1 second.
68 months?
Yeah, it's not.
68,
Uh-huh.
68 months. Contract end date will be 12 years from May, or this month.
2031, May 31st.
This rate right here.
Okay, so here's what's on the table, guys, so you can see. At 68 months head-to-head, if we had two identical scenarios, and one of them was with TXU and one of them with Reliant, at the end of 68 months, TXU package on our 6.5 million kilowatt per hour usage would be $89,000 ahead of the equation. The gamble comes in the last 31 months. And we saw what 3/4 of a cent change in the rate could mean to us. At the time, we were looking at a 39-month scenario. Now we're only looking at a 31-month scenario. But if a rate adjustment of 3/4 of a cent came along, there's just no rhyme or reason, and we're not able to perform that math calculation at all. And I still contend it's a good, educated guess, and Carrie, you may be a math whiz at showing me on a chalkboard that how you calculate a rate in the year 2030 from today, the components of that, but we know, or we're concerned that we'll ever see this 2-cent range of electricity rates again, and this is something that's really out there for us, and it is a tremendous savings from where we're at today by reaching out and doing the most we can do. But so that y'all see what the difference is, at 68 months head-to-head, TXU would be ahead of that equation, $89,000. It's just that if their rate then goes up 1 penny for the next 30 years and it becomes a very good rate of 3, 4, 5, 6, you just lost everything that you gained plus you're exposed to the market at a quicker time.
I'm one of those guys that think a bird in the hand is better than 2 birds in the bush. We can't forecast, we don't know what it's gonna be. Carrie seems to think that it might be the same or lower. I think we can only base our decision on known facts and not subject ourselves to what if. So I would make a recommendation that we accept TXU's price at 102,456 for a 68-month term and be locked in.
Well, now, I'm not following you there.
Yeah.
The bird,
0.02456.
yeah, that's not what you're saying. The bird in the hand is the 99-month deal, that you know what your rates are going to be over 99 months. You only know that 68 months you could have bettered yourself, but that last 30 you could wreck yourself.
I'm not gonna wreck myself.
By the rate, if the rate was a penny less than what we're paying today, 10 years from now, if the rate is only a penny above below what we pay today. Now, I can't even fathom that, Lee. If electricity rates are a penny lower than what we pay today.
4.47, what we pay today.
If they were 3.7, 10, 11 years from now, what we're talking about. I can't fathom that being the case, but let's just say it happened and they were cheaper, okay? That rate would ruin your $89,000 savings all to pieces. You wouldn't have saved any money.
But if Carrie's right, the rate's lower.
Yeah, and I told her I would take that bet if she'd escrow the money so that the last 30 months were protected and I could call on the escrow to protect myself. Because me and you saying what the rates are, I mean, Carrie could sell us electricity at 0.2456, but that's no guarantee what the price will be in the year 2025. The electricity could be 0.05 and TXU taking the loss of the hedge. I mean, it could easily happen that way. Israel could get bombed.
But if you believe that, Jeff, don't sign a contract at all. Just play the market.
No, because I know that what I'm dealing with in rates today.
Yeah, but why are you worried about the end of 68 months? If I'm like you, I can't see that happening. Maybe I'm not following you. Exactly right.
I think
That's the judge's job to call on people. He hits me upside the head when I do it. Hearts too.
And he has a hammer.
Okay.
I think there's obviously, doesn't take an expert in that field to know that there's very little known about the commodity electricity market out that far, right? 2030 and beyond. But I think what you do know, or what I know, because I've been in the industry so long, is the innovation, the way that we generate electricity continues to evolve. It gets better and better and better and better. Which, when it becomes more efficient, typically your cost, not only to the consumer, but also the wholesale cost in order to generate the power becomes lower. So as that happens, that cost, when it becomes obviously lower in the wholesale market, it becomes lower to the consumer, right? To pass those savings on to y'all. So TXU, any smart retail electric provider that's been around for any length of time knows that, hey, you don't gouge your customers. If your wholesale cost is this, you're going to pass that savings on. That's why if you've got a lot of customers and you treat them right, that's what happens. You gain a lot of customers, and that's why we have so many customers here in this, you know, what we call ERCOT, which is basically the Texas market. But I do know that as I look back, I can only go on personal, things that have happened while I've been in this industry, and I can remember customers that, we were selling back in 07, 08, 15 cents a kilowatt hour, 15 cents. So back then, if you would have told me, man, the price is going to get down to 7 cents, we're cutting half, there ain't no what. Well, guess what, that happened. Then it got down to 4 cents. It's like, natural gas is going to keep dropping, natural gas. So now it's got to the point where natural gas is really flat, and it has been for quite some time, right? When you look at the market, when you look at the natural gas market, it collapsed in, I think, 08, but it's been on the downward slide. But now there's so much of electricity that's being consumed, or being generated rather, outside of not just natural gas, but batteries, wind, solar, and that will continue to get more and more. The innovation will increase, and therefore, again, obviously, if I had a crystal ball, probably wouldn't be sitting here, but my thought process, I can only draw on what I've experienced being in the market for so long in this industry, and obviously, y'all have a decision to make, a 68-month term at a lower price versus a higher price than a 99-month term. I will tell you that while it doesn't sound like a lot, the difference between because y'all use so much power, 6.5 million kilowatt hours a year, that's a lot. But because you use so much power, the delta between the price points of 2456 and 2699 is significant. It's significant. And so
$90,000 over 68 months.
Yes, sir. And that's anytime I'm in a competitive bid, the delta. All I'm saying is that is a significant delta, right? The price point. But again, that's just a decision y'all have to make, and I understand it. But I do know that once we get closer to that start date of 2025, whether that's 2 years, 3 years before that start date, TXU would never tell Wichita County, no, we're not going to extend that contract. If we think it's right for y'all and we can get y'all at the same price or a better price, we will do it in a heartbeat.
Would it be fair to say, you guys are margin players. It's what you deal with. You deal with margin.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in the margin back when electricity was 14 cents as compared to this basically 2.5 cents?
Well, what it all comes down to is the cost of generation, right? The cost of natural gas.
Well, then saying that, you're telling me your margin stays the same. You're dealing with the fluctuation in the wholesale price.
That is correct.
Yeah, and that was my question.
Yes, sir.
Where was your margin at when it was at 14?
Yeah.
Is it the same as it is at 2.5,
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah.
And I understand there's inflation.
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
Other adjustments, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a margin deal.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
But now Barry, that variance is 2/10 of 1 penny.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
But
I just,
if the argument you make is, and certainly more understandable from y'all being a provider, why wouldn't you make a 99-month deal? If you feel strongly about the marketplace being in good shape, why wouldn't you make a 99?
It's all about the unknowns, the generation cost that far out. That's all it's about. And being able to establish a market price for that. So you have constraints put upon you and governing laws, and I do as well. And so at TXU, being the retail provider, we can only sell on when our generation partner, which is Luminant, just like Reliant has NRG as their generation company, TXU has Luminant. Same umbrella, same company, but it's just, that's our wholesale, our generation piece. And there's a lot of unknowns about the market out that far. And so at some point, they're going to say, well, we can only sell out that far. And that's what they've done.
it's just hard to hedge.
It is, it's hard to hedge.
And I would assume y'all hedge
And
in the
believe me,
gas market and in other areas. I mean, there is no direct trade to go hedge electricity. You gotta hedge the components of it.
That is correct.
And it gets tough to hedge out there
Yes, sir.
that
Yes,
far
sir.
out.
And so-
For one thing,
and
carry
we're-
costs.
And we're very conservative, right? When you look at across the board at all the retail electric providers, we're conservative. And what that means is we're trying to protect you, number one, and then also us. So we're around to sell you electricity in 2025, 2031, 2050, et cetera.
You can go hedge natural gas, but natural gas may not be a big player.
That is
68
correct.
months from now, that's a problem.
That is correct.
Oh, we've got our hedge, but we're not using that anymore.
For so
That's where
long,
the rub
for
comes
so
in.
long, coal.
Yeah.
Coal was a big deal. Well, guess what? Coal's kind of gone away. Now it's natural gas. Well, in 2025, 2031, where's natural gas going to be in the terms of the percentage that is utilized to generate electricity? Is it going to be all wind and solar? Is it going to be batteries? I mean, we just did a 300 megawatt battery plant that's fixing to go online out in California. 300 megawatts. That's significant. That probably
You store your other unreliable
that is correct.
sources,
That is correct.
which has been the missing link to this whole deal
Yes,
forever.
exactly.
That is
That is
correct.
the missing link.
That is correct.
Well, and it gets extremely expensive because of carrying costs to hedge out very far too. You've got.
I mean,
all
believe
kinds
me,
of expenses.
as a salesperson, I'd love to sell y'all a 200-month contract, right? But I'm not a higher up. I've got to go to the higher ups and say, look, Wichita County, I'm trying to get the longest term at the best price that I can for these guys. And they say 68 months as long as I can do.
So if we do a 68-month deal and we rock along here for the next 4 or 5 years, do you begin to look at it mid-contract?
Well, I'm looking at that contract before your contract ever starts in 2025. See, this contract's not going to commence
that's
until
the point.
2025.
Right.
So I'm looking at the market, I'm looking out at, when 2022, 2023 gets here, I'm looking to see, okay, can I lock them in at the same price or better? And if I can, I'm gonna hightail it up here and say, look, guys, this is what I can do.
Before the
You guys
contract
want to
starts.
extend it?
Absolutely.
You can reach further
Absolutely.
then.
We do it every day.
Further out.
Absolutely. So then, once I get 2 or 3 years before your contract start date, maybe I can go another 5 years on top of that, 68 month, right? So that's, we're constantly looking at, we would never walk away and say, well, you know what, 68 months, we're not gonna try to extend that contract. I mean, if it makes sense, if you guys wanna do it, and it makes sense to y'all from a financial perspective, it makes sense to us. We would always give you all that option.
Did the rec give us a quote for this morning?
Yes, they did, but it's not in the ballpark. It's 3-cent rates.
All right. One of the things, Mr. Beecham, we're in this energy project. Right now, we know we're at 6.5 a year. What are we projecting to go to?
I'll have to look.
Judge, if we cut it in half, it does not change our rate with either provider.
No, that wasn't where I was headed. The savings get smaller.
Yeah.
And so that does not have, if we cut that by 1 million.
What we don't know is the demand function or that side of the equation, what we're going to see or benefit.
We have a new facility coming online and
We have an additional.
We're gonna add.
Judge, the delta gets smaller, but so does the total bill.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
Yeah.
No, I realize, no.
What's gonna happen though when we add the new jail?
Well, it depends on what we do with the old.
Well, it could be a ramp up on power for some extent. We hope it's the most efficient that it could be.
Depends on whether you're operating both facilities or just one. If you're continuing to operate both facilities, consumption's gonna go up. If you shut the old one down for the most part, move into the new one, I would hope we'd see some savings.
we should.
And we could.
And if we have the old one open, that
You
means.
should say, you should see some savings
So
on
it's
the
a-
demand
it's a good
side,
problem.
right? Even if your usage may be the same, but if you're more efficient, you may see savings on the demand side, which is the Encore side, right? Because you're more efficient, your usage may be the same, but if you're using the power more efficiently, your equipment, everything else is operating at peak performance, that hopefully should help your Encore cost.
And
Judge, this is not like Chris going to a sale at the shoe store and say, look how much I saved. This is a different scenario.
Barry, on the hedge comment, you certainly can't hedge what you don't have. And their ability to hedge, I mean, we would all like to take the bet and hedge it immediately, but there's nothing that forces them to hedge that bet immediately other than finances. And so you could set on your rate that's not costing you a penny till the year 2024 and then hedge it as much as you wanted to out in the marketplace, because you could be the benefactor of that.
But they're assuming that risk, and that risk has value.
Right.
That's the deal. By non-hedging, they walk away with their do. I can go buy a silo full of wheat today and set on it, or I can hedge it on the board
Yeah.
and know where I am. If I don't hedge it, I'm assuming that risk, and the
Right.
risk could be huge.
Right.
It could eat you, and why we don't do that. So,
Willie, interject in here, your thought?
wisdom, we need wisdom here, Willie.
No, I'm going for the longer contract. I don't think you'll see energy prices in 2 to 3 cent range. Again, I just don't.
Well, Willie, you know if Bernie Sanders gets elected, we're gonna get free electricity,
Free everything,
free college.
except for paycheck. Hear out of magic?
We may have other challenges, so. I know, yes. Now, when you say the longer contract, now specify that.
The 99 a month.
Rather than 68.
The interesting thing from the original quote, the change in Reliant is just less than double what your all's change. You all were .0071 and they were .00135 just in this short period of time.
I don't know, I mean, everyone has a different, generation cost, but their generation cost should be pretty close to what ours is. I don't know why it would be different. So assuming that, they just have more margin on top of that. That's all I can think.
If we get to 2025 and this has gone the other way, and you all are actually able to start selling people electricity at, let's say, 02111. Would we have the option of hanging on?
Absolutely.
That's what he just said.
Yeah.
He would shop it,
So-
figure it out.
Typically, what they do is they call that a blend and extend, so we
Yeah.
get to that point and rates are, let's say, 2-1, you know? Then what we do is we call a blend and extend. We're gonna blend what we've already sold you at that 24.56 price into the new price, right? We've already got this, already bought this at 24.56, so what we have to do is blend that into that other rate.
Which is what we've done, Judge.
Yes, sir. Yeah. If it goes the other direction and it's going up and we opt in, it's starting to creep, we opt in sooner and take you on out another 68 months, then.
Right. But we're gonna be, you know, any type of, you know, extension, we're gonna be looking prior to that, you know, 2 or 3 years before that start date even occurs to see where we're at. And if it makes sense, coming to y'all and say, hey, is this something that you guys want to look at doing? You know, extending this contract beyond this May of 2031 start date because of this factor, this lower price.
Good. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I just have a comment. I think obviously price is the biggest factor here, but something else you have to look at is customer service. That has a value as well. And I don't see that any of the other two companies here today. These guys are here, you know, twice. And I think that's an important thing. If I, you know, it's important to me. Customer service is an important thing to me. I will go somewhere and pay a little extra for good customer service, you know, over some place that I don't get good customer service. So I think that's an important factor to consider as well.
Well, what we call poor customer service is when the lights go out.
None of the 3 people that we're talking to right now are in control of that.
Well, it's still an important factor.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have an issue, you call up and get a computer online, you know. If they're not even here today to help us try to figure this out, then where are they gonna be in 2025?
Gary, are you paying him?
Well, indirectly, she pays taxes, so she's paying you too.
Thank you, Judge.
And I guess my comment was if we could leave the end of 68 months being a few $100,000 ahead of the equation, I'd say go for it, boys. But we can't. We're talking about an 89, if that. If our electricity stays at 6.5 million, it will be $89,000 to carry into the next 3 years. But if it drops, it won't even be 89,000. I just think we put a lot of, when we pay $500,000 a year for electricity today, and hopefully we're going to pull that down to the $300,000 a year range, but it's just an unsafe gamble when we know what we can do for the longer period of time, and that's mine and Willie's math on the equation agreed that we just knew the bird in the hand was what we knew by the year 2033, which is a long time by now, and they'll be here tomorrow, unfortunately, but we knew that what our bet was at that point. Because the 89,000 won't take any time if a penny rate difference happens, which to be 0.4 cents to 3 cents, it easily could happen. It will erode anything we saved, and we'll be into the marketplace again. Now, I guess there's nothing that keeps us in the year 2025 from rebidding at the end of 2030. It's just whether we bet we'll ever see these rates again or not. because we haven't done anything to bid electricity for the year 2030 if we're talking about a just under 4-cent rate.
99 months takes you to 1 January 2034. You lock in 2034.
And I appreciate Kerry's great pricing and good offer. I just want it to be for 99 months.
If I'm working this hard, oh, can I say something? I'm sorry. If I'm working this hard for you now to earn your business, you can see how hard we're going to continue to work for you moving forward, knowing, and we have several customers across the state of Texas, that their budget is just as important. We're going to work hard for you to get you, we know where you need to be in keeping that budget in at all times. Our job is to make you look good. And if I don't do my job, I'm not doing a good job across the state of Texas, and therefore my reputation is at stake. So we work very hard and constantly. We have a team up there, not just with me, but I have a team of account service managers that are always taking a look at what you're doing and how we can be better service to you. That's, you know, it's the way we've always done business and the way we will continue to do business. So a longer term, it just brings the hedging. We talked about hedging a while ago. It just makes that hedging, we have to hedge more on a longer term like that. So just knowing where you're at and where you're going and what the market's doing. We have experts in our structured transaction department that has years of experience, years. They're just not, you know, graduated from college. We have those people, those wonderful people as interns that's working in that department, and we're teaching them how to forecast as well. And we do a darn good job at it. And we're in the, you know, we have to make money as well. So we keep it very, you know, honest across the board with you, and that's why our rate really hasn't moved that much. I came in with where I needed to be, and the only way I move is when that market moves. So I will continue to work hard for you. It's hard to make a decision, I understand, but I've been here. I called when I first made that phone call and heard about what was taking place. I jumped right in on it because I knew at that time, being in the business in my starting my 11th year, that we could work with you and help you get a better hold on that budget. Thank you.
Well, contract is large, you would think Reliant would send somebody in here to at least work with us. I mean, I understand standing out 99 months, it's a good play to do that, but customer service also goes along with it.
Which bird in the hand, I guess you'd say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is more valuable?
And Mr. Watts, you were saying that with TXU's current rates, if we put those side by side, we'd save $89,000 a year at current usage.
No, not a year,
No,
Judge.
just
In
the whole-
68 months, you would
68
save
months, okay.
$89,000. So my contention was if you were saving $350,000, oh, no question about it. We'd take that gamble. The problem is that we're neck and neck at the end of 68 months. There's not that much variance in the rate. The difference in the rate is 2/100ths of a penny. So, I mean, that's what separates the two.
Okay. We need a motion to go with bird 1 or bird 2.
I made a motion, I just didn't get a second.
Oh, okay.
So it may have died for the lack of
Yeah,
a second.
so far it has.
Well, then I'd make the motion that we go with the 99-month with Reliant. And Mark, on that point, Natalie did ask me, and I told her at this point, they didn't need to attend the deal. We wanted them to come if they were selected to introduce themselves, and we like an annual report concerning our stuff. And she had her boss speak with me last week as well, just on their processes and things if they wanted to do, or what we like to see. And I told them what we were used to seeing and prepare something for us, but I told them we had worked this math ourselves.
Okay. Is there a second to Commissioner Watt's motion? Okay, I'll second it. Any other discussion? On the motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Judge Gossam to accept Reliance 99-month contract offer at 0.02699. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2. Terry, thank you all. Appreciate y'all taking the time to be here, though.
Thank you, we appreciate you.
Meredith, have you had any chance at all to look at those contracts? Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Nice to meet you, sir.
You notice the shirt he was wearing?
No.
The Masters.
Of what?
The Masters. Augusta Masters.
Oh, a light colored green, he's had a long time.
And had the film on.
All right. Let's go to item 4 is discuss and take action to designate one parking space in the North Central Courthouse parking lot for reserved for the maintenance crew employee of the court. No.
Quite simple, the jail maintenance staff has a hard time getting parking close to the building when they're transporting goods and stuff in and out of the building to do maintenance, particularly on jury week, so we wanted to give them one parking stall over by where the Connex boxes are currently.
If I recall correctly, our maintenance people got a parking ticket
Yes.
in front of our courthouse.
Yes, they did.
Whenever they were unloading, they'll pick up the stuff.
Well, and then we created those 2 parking spaces as an unloading zone there.
Yeah.
Okay, why wouldn't they just use one of those? I just thought about that. I mean.
Well, they do if their building maintenance is not using them.
Oh, okay.
So we had 2 different maintenance functions.
So they'd be in that same line along the west side of the east lot? Or are they gonna be north lot?
The east side of the north lot.
Well,
It's a
there's-
The
little-
north lot across the street?
Right.
Oh.
There's loading and unloading besides our maintenance vehicles.
Yeah.
It's-
It's,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different loading.
A lot of different loading that goes on. It's not necessarily just our
Yeah.
vehicles.
So it's one
Yeah.
parking stall.
But it's not gonna be in the lot right here on the outside of security? That's what I call the east lot.
Well, it says north courthouse parking lot.
So it's across the street of the juvenile detention center.
Yeah.
It just keeps them from having to park all over by Impact and walking materials and stuff in during jury week.
Okay. I'm with you now.
I think it's been long needed. I'll second it. Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, any other comments? Anyone? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried 5-0. Item 5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve a proposal from JVJ Fencing for a 12-by-12 shed for Precinct 2 to be paid from the Department 222 budget. to the lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Harvey.
I'm gonna need to beg to differ with you, Judge. This is coming out of the 224 budget.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I just want to say how much I appreciate Mr. Watts doing that for me.
Can I get one too? Can I get one too?
Dadgummit, I guess y'all caught that, didn't you?
Water should have been.
222. Close, but not quite correct.
This is the little shed that's on the south side of my, you know, the center of the lot, there's a covered deal. We parked all the dump trucks and stuff in the center. On the south end of that, it's where my pressure washer's at, wash my trucks and everything. And my little building is like this.
Is that the one at the end of the double open
Yes,
carport?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we're gonna tear it down and it's in a mud floor or whatever. Pour us a little slab, 12 by 12 slab, put us a little building up, insulate it. And pour some concrete, and then we're gonna put a little carport up right there. So when you pull the vehicle up underneath it, you can wash it out of the sun. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just gonna have a little walkway on one side of it, and steps on each end. They can wash one side of it, take it out, turn around, pull it in there, and wash it again. It's $7,000. Most of that is the concrete for the building. So that's my motion.
And Jeff's paying for it.
Thank you, Jeff. You're such a good man.
We all want one.
Well, we're working on the same, I don't have mine completely together, and we've got to get water to mine, and we have the old building, but mine is still standing straight, but I just got to get water to mine, and we're working on that.
Well, your yard is hard as a rock.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
You would be far better off renting a ditch witch than trying to dig that with a backhoe.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments on the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6, discuss, consider, take action to proceed with the waterway cleanout project in Haynesville, Texas, at a cost of not to exceed $10,000 to be paid from Department 224 budget lines to be determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Watts.
Yes, this is the project that, Barry, I don't remember when it was that we met. Was it last fall that the people came? They had been speaking to me for some time, and then that's Lee when the McAllister brother that doesn't live here came. Mac, is it Mac? Married to the Haney girl from Electra. Does that register with you?
No.
I met him first time ever, but they came. They still have some property there, but they spoke to us about the Problem United group, and then so what Meredith had reviewed, and Becca spent quite a bit of time researching Meredith's questions. We knew we didn't have any true legitimate easement. It didn't exist. There was and what appeared to be one that was written way back in either the late 70s or early 80s, but it didn't. There was no anything to it legitimately, and so.
Back of a whole liner road.
And Barry, I think it was like a soil and water conservation agreement typically, and that's what it was. And maybe then that was certainly, like you said, used to, we could even do that work that no longer exist.
The county used to do a lot of conservation work, 4B.
But this is roughly a waterway that carries water away from the west side of Highway 25 as well as the east side, just north of that intersection, and it allows it to go through a drainage until it hits a second waterway. It crosses about 100-acre wheat field there, and it allows it to successfully hit that second waterway. And we modified from when we originally started. We were going to do what minimal cleaning had to exist in the second portion of the waterway. That was mainly just shaping the floor because it had adequate fall and it wasn't silted bad back there. It just had gotten some washes in it that were enough to make mowing very unsuitable. But since then, Joe called me and they are underwriting that second waterway. So it's only the front portion of this, and we'll have a true easement at that time across there to work in to direct this water that those property owners, which could be limited, Meredith, now to only 2 property owners, will have signed off on with the meets and bounds of this. And I asked for, if there's some point in time that a property has to be sold and they want this easement to go away, we'll certainly give them that right. It just doesn't set it in stone that it exists forever, but we have.
Let me ask you a question. Now, if I understand it right, we have constructed a new waterway to the east of what we're talking about that this one will dump into.
It's an old waterway, but they're doing the work on it. They're underwriting the cost of it.
Joe designed it. Yes. He designed it for ours to dump into that. That's the way I understand it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the way it needed to be.
Well, Joe's doing one in precinct 2 also, out there on, Williamson, Clay Williamson's land.
And he's doing one.
Great big waterway.
He's doing
diverting
one in
that water.
Working on one in precinct 3 right now too, so.
Well, he's diverted that water away so that it won't tear up our road. I mean, he did it it was just tearing up our road, big time coming out of that field. And he took it across the field. Lots of dirt work. I was amazed at how much dirt they moved.
Well,
We're talking about Joe, which is a retired engineer from NRCS that now works for the Wichita Soil and Water Conservation District.
Yeah.
So when we make that contribution to that district,
That
we have
helps
got that engineer working for us.
Well, he is
smart. And he attended this meeting we had back earlier here as well, and so did TxDOT. They were involved with that as well. Now, this waterway is fully existing. It already is created, and it's a very good waterway, very putting grass very strongly, and it's
done what it's supposed to do.
It's done what it's supposed to do, and
over a period of time, those grass waterways collect silt.
And
that's what they're designed for, with about a 30-year life, something like that.
And the majority of our work, or nearly all of our work, will be in the first third of the existing waterway, and it's just the floor. We just need to take the dirt out of the floor because it's caused too much elevation. Put a grade back in it so the water can quickly go on through.
As it seals in, it reverses the grade, and that makes it not functional. What we're actually going to be doing is going in and putting positive grade.
But we're going to be disturbing our riparian base.
No, we are not.
And Barry said that.
What do you mean?
Because we're not going to do the sides, which is where the riparian area is.
It's in the bottom.
Well, and then that last pass, you reach over there with that blade and you catch a few of those sprigs.
That's what I didn't know. That's a good trick right there, and you throw it and it re-sprig it right there. Of course,
tracks of the grader, plug it in. We've done a bunch of them that way. It works good. So, yeah, that's already in the plan. Rex
Now-
can handle that.
What's Joe's last name, Greg?
Rykoff?
Yeah, I'd have to have it in front of it.
Cough?
It's
Koffel.
Koffel. Yeah, with a
Rykoff's
K.
the safety guy out of the jail.
Yeah. Yeah, we were so fortunate to get him on the payroll on a part-time basis, and because he is retired NRCS, but.
And he is like a bull.
Oh, he gets it done.
He gets it done. I was like, wow.
We're working on a deal out there right now. He won't design it until we get TxDOT to sign off on it, because he wants to make sure that nothing he's doing is gonna create a problem downstream. They're very conscientious of that, and that's a good thing. Because water is it's a major problem. It's a good thing. We're glad we got it, but getting it where it needs to be sometimes is not so easy.
Is there a second to this?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any comments, anyone in the audience? Okay, motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Muller, approve the item as stated. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 7 is receive an update on the Law Enforcement Center project, Commissioner Beecham.
Well, the monsoon season has hit in full force, and it did affect the schedule somewhat last week. We missed a couple of quarters. I think they tried to catch up on Friday. I did not check with them this morning to see what was actually poured on Friday. But for this week, areas H and I are scheduled to pour. There is enough time built into the schedule to catch up for the rain days. However, two areas of potential concerns, one with AT&T. They've changed where they want to tie in the AT&T into our building, which we're gonna meet with them this week and see if we can get it back to where we discussed all along, tying into the front of the building as opposed to the back.
Well, that line,
There's a line on either side. There's fiber overhead in the back and fiber underground in the front.
oh, underground.
It's always been the plan to tie into the fiber in the front of the building. That's where the server room and everything is on the front side of the building.
So who wants to make the change?
AT&T. But it's always been the plan to go to the front.
Was that Randy Wetzel who did that?
I'm not sure.
There wasn't one today, it was mentioned the other day.
Was it? Okay.
The other issue is with the cell mock-ups. We discussed all along, the cell mock-ups would be dropped off here for us to inspect. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna end up having to go to Hays County to look at what they're building there, which it may not be a bad thing to look and see that construction go on. It's very similar to our construction.
Now, is that the one we went to, Mark?
No, Hays County is
San Marcos.
Oh, okay.
So they also Comal County next door, also building this facility very similar to ours, size and scope. So,
New Brussels.
yeah.
So explain to me how, if we had in our scope to do the mock-up and be delivered on a certain day.
Contract.
It wasn't written in there, it was talked about.
It was discussed, but it wasn't written.
I mean, we thought when somebody said they were recommending, that's what it meant.
Now, all along it has been the plan that they would stop along the way going to Hays County. We were just gonna get one there to inspect for a couple of days.
But they're,
We're backing out.
yeah. Well, the other thing is, the dropping it off, where it's coming from east and south of here by several states to Mississippi or Alabama, it's coming out of. Alabama. So it wasn't exactly on the way, but at any rate, going down there actually may be the better. We told them we don't plan to see any bills from anybody on the travel and really think ours ought to be covered. So, this will be some of the leadership out of the sheriff's department, jail, and possibly Commissioner and I both, but at least Commissioner.
It'll be a good opportunity for us to look at those other two facilities that are being constructed that are similar in scope and size to ours too, so. Field trip. But that, other than that, construction is going along as smoothly as it can when you have 2 inches of rain every other day on site, so. There,
Have y'all thought about putting up some rain gutters?
we're gonna build a geodesic dome over the top of it.
Oh, look at that.
Till we have the construction complete.
What did you think of that?
I just think we borrowed the cone my dog where.
When the forecast is ready.
It is large. Yeah. Just be standing by her when she comes through.
Forecast this week's not looking any better to get these doors and H and I done, but hopefully we'll get them done.
Well, but the good news is, we had a little talk from Kevin Darnell the other day, said he really, water isn't an issue when they were building the additions to our Queen of Peace out there. They were picking up effluent and sewage water, and the inspector went out there one morning and said, y'all can't pour today, there may be somebody buried here, there's a smell. Well, then they explained to him where the water was coming from. So he was okay with that, but we don't have that problem right now, so that's good.
Not at all.
Okay, we're down to public comments. Anyone in the audience? Mr. Hampton.
Gentlemen, I just want to remind you that Sunday is Mother's Day, and I know every one of y'all's wives are watching this presentation, so now they know that you've been reminded.
Thanks a
So
lot,
you can't float a deal that says, gosh, I forgot Sunday.
Well, yeah, I have
Sounds
to give
like
my
she-
wife credit. She said
Sounds like
she
you
was
got-
not
you
my
found her.
mother, and therefore,
One of my favorite mothers.
it come from her sons. So I'm going for that. Okay, Commissioner Beecham.
Yeah, Republican Party headquarters opens this week on Thursday. They're open 5 o'clock. Be speaking tomorrow at the Fallen Officers Memorial out at the all. Brain's not working, the mouth's not working, all red, it's something.
Okay.
We're looking forward to that. I got to speak there last year. Good event for those that have put their lives on the line to keep us safe, along with our other law enforcement officers.
Mark, is the Republican headquarters, did we move over by
Yeah,
Maplewood?
It's moved over to Maplewood next to
Texas
Best
Best?
Barbecue.
Right in that shopping center right there?
Yeah, right at Maplewood and Summers Barbecue.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey.
Well, Robbie Hollis from our tax office, she's retired a couple years back. I just got an email, she passed away, and it just kind of breaks my heart. She was pretty young. She was lots of smiles every time you went in there. She was always happy. I guess her funeral's gonna be this Thursday, same day that we're gonna have an opening at the Republican headquarters. I unfortunately will not be in town Thursday and Friday. I'm headed to College Station for my niece's graduation. And I hate to miss that funeral. Anyway, just remember Robbie and her family in your prayers.
Commissioner Mahler, anything, sir? Commissioner Mahler?
We had the pleasure of attending down in Fort Worth, Texas this weekend, the 65th reunion for Texas Farm Bureau Roundup, which is a weekly radio program. It's the longest running ag radio program in the United States.
On WPAP?
On 44 radio stations across Texas. 44. And I've been a reporter for that program for 30 years. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Because I
Wow.
remember when I got recruited to do that, and it was really neat to see a bunch of the old farm broadcasters across Texas, many of them I've known for many, many years. It was just a great opportunity to get to visit and relax a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. But I can't believe, guys, you blink your eyes, and you've been doing something a long time without even noticing it. Like, oh, that couldn't have been 30 years. But Roddy Peoples was there. Roddy had worked at KWFT many years ago, and Jeff, you probably don't remember him, but he was gone probably before your time. Kurt Lancaster, who is kin to our Kurt, we were talking about that. I think we're cousins. He was with the VSA network out of San Angelo.
Now, Barry, what about the place that was out off of 367? Did broadcasts go on there for like by Texoma Christian
Yeah,
Care?
it was located in the studios, Radio Lane, right behind Christian Care Center there.
Okay.
And they sold and
Mr.
moved
Cantu
to,
owns that property now.
yeah, it moved to the Metroplex.
And-
I spent 10 years there myself in that building.
Well, and where does Earl,
Well, that's where Earl Sargent was.
Earl
for all
Sargent.
those years.
Okay.
Earl's been gone now for, oh gosh, 15, 20 years on that. But anyway, just a neat deal to go and reminisce and talk about the changes in that industry. They're incredible. I mean, they showed some pictures of the first Farm Bureau Roundup was done on a tape, reel-to-reel machine. And it was done in a garage in Goodson, McKee, back in Waco, Texas, and distributed by reel to these radios. So when I first started, we did it on cassette, mailed it in. They dubbed it, edited, they put the program together and then sent it back out. Of course, now it's all satellite, but just interesting to go and visit with those guys and see a lot of old friends I hadn't seen in a while. But every 5 years, they have a reunion. 65 years, a long time. So
I looked up and, I got an invitation to my 40th high school reunion, and I said, there ain't no way. I've been in high school 40 years.
I did my 50th this last year.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
one interesting thing, one of the reporters that is now retired who was there, I was listening to a bunch of old radio jingles here a while back on YouTube, just saying that bunch of guys, I love the old jingles, 60s, 70s. Well, that played over into the assassination of President Kennedy, and all the radio TV coverage was down there. And one of the guys that was there was on the air at WBAP, and he was one of them, and I heard him say, WBAP, Fort Worth, this just into the newsroom, it was breaking news,
Yeah.
and he read it on the air. And I thought, how cool was that? So I'm still living in Fort Worth, Texas, so, that's history, guys. When you're sitting at the news desk and the president gets shot, that doesn't happen very often.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. He just happened to be on board that day. And I told
That's
him,
enough of that.
I said, I just heard that on YouTube on an old reel here just the other day. But that kind of makes you shake a little when that comes, because all of a sudden when something like that happens and you're sitting in one of those old newsrooms, those ticker tape machines just go crazy. They go ding, 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 and boy, to run and see what's going on. Something big has happened.
They don't have those anymore.
Oh, no, they don't have any more. But I still remember when,
Wild.
I remember when the old teletypes were running in the newsroom, and when they went to dinging, you go look.
I had to get the farm report every
You did, there
morning
you go.
off the teletype.
That's right.
Every morning.
But he was sitting there and he said that thing went crazy, and he runs in there and there it is in the video. President shot in downtown Dallas, and he pulled
It was in a
up,
closet. I said,
and immediately they went to the air with it. So what a neat piece of history, but anyway, that's it.
I made a fast trip to Columbus, Ohio this weekend, and it's
There is no fast trip.
No, it was, I'd never been up north like that, and so a lot of things different than here, and a lot of companies you see are completely different. I seen a factory, or factory for Budweiser, humongous facility close to where we were going, and it was just interesting to see all the differences that exist from here. There is a little cooler, but very pretty, and it's very pretty country. But I was blown away by the age of the older homes as I got closer to downtown, even within downtown area, that places that had to have been built in the 1800s that were just humongous mansions of sorts, and but layer over layer of tall roofed basement homes that were it was very, very interesting trip. We've had the commissioner call me that's up against me from Wilbarger this morning, wanted to be a part of our training. He had spoke to someone knowing that we were going to be having what's the Klausner? Is it, am I saying that right? Klausner come. He would like to attend. They absolutely are doing zero chip sealing.
$5 at the door.
It's all fallen out across time. They've sold all their equipment. They don't even have no equipment to do that with. And but he replaced the commissioner that passed away in November and finish a 2-year term. But he wanted to kind of get an ideal of, you know, what we talked budget numbers this morning, length, and get a grip on kind of things we're doing. But he just wanted to see the process to some extent, and I told him we were going to try to coordinate that. Do we have a date for that yet? Do we know that when they're coming?
Are you talking about on the distributor?
That the oil guy's coming to,
No,
the
Don's
distributor
supposed to call
guy?
him.
Okay, set that up.
Set that up, and we're gonna bring him here, so we put oil on
Yeah.
our roads and not
Yeah.
on their stuff.
Sure.
Whether it's gonna be.
But if y'all,
And that needs to be on the agenda, it's $1,000. That's it.
What's that?
To bring him up here to give us all at school.
Well, there needs to be a little more detail than she has. But, anything
Call
else?
Donald for your detail. He has it. He knows.
okay, I'll get
Okay.
that from you.
Who's gonna be here Wednesday? I will not.
I will.
Okay, because Wednesday we have payroll, an important thing to take care of, so we got enough there. Jeff, will you be able to make that 10:30 normal meeting? Odyssey?
Thursday?
Yeah, here,
Mhm.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, okay.
What we got tomorrow?
Or, do we have budget this week at all, Nancy?
No.
Other than today?
Other than today, no.
Okay. And Meredith, we will meet, because y'all also have the large school going on, but are we gonna try to meet that and do that, our management
Executive
meeting?
We probably will not be doing the executive meeting this week, just because everybody will be up in ICJ that
Okay.
morning. And we thought y'all would be in budget hearings, so.
Well, and I've gotten a lot of, and I guess she's changing the schedule, Melissa, and I'd gotten a lot of appointments across the weekend that I guess changed due to.
She's sending reminders.
Okay.
Because people last week started saying, oh, I didn't see anything about that, so.
Oh, okay.
We want to make sure everybody's seeing it.
Okay.
Judge, I've been working with the auditor's office on an issue that we're having with our license plate tags. And, with the auditor's office, we have came to a solution. And what we want to do is we want to issue each precinct a credit card that is used at the tax assessor collector's office only. And they'll only have like $50 credit limit on it, top deal, and it would be paid $7 at a time when we get our tags. G.E. Malone and I worked on that, so did Don. And talked to Willie, I'm talking to Nancy about getting that on the agenda. I want to do that for my guys, and I would certainly think that you guys would also want to do that, because if you're like us, we turn our tags in to the auditor's office, and the lady that does them is, what's her name, been gone?
Linda?
No,
Destiny?
Judy Whittington?
no, I think
No.
it's Destiny. Anyway,
She's the one, yeah, I think she's.
the lady that does our
Yeah.
tags, had them for 2 weeks, and we wound up with all our tags being expired, and didn't have any tags, and we jumped through some hoops, and anyway, it's an issue.
How are you paying your inspection fee?
They bill it to the county.
They go to the county. Is there a chance we could put a deposit over there that the auditor's, tax office would draw from that and just transfer the funds instead of?
Can't have petty cash anywhere.
They have petty cash all over the place.
I asked the auditor if we could have petty cash, she said no.
Well, that's not true. Court decides that.
Okay.
Well, what are you saying we would do, Lee, going
We
forward?
just get a credit card that had like $50 limit on it, that could be only used at the tax assessor collector's office. So when we got our tags, reminder to get it renewed, we get our inspection, and you go right over there to the, tag office and get your tags with that credit card.
We did get all ours, or most of them, changed over to a single tag.
Yeah.
That helps.
That helps a lot, but now, the only thing we've been doing different, that we made a deal up when it changed, we get billed for the entire price from our inspection group. The boys take that money and buy the tag with it. So Ralph bills us $14.50 instead of, or whatever it is, and they use the difference to buy the tag.
So he refunds them.
Ralph bills us for the full price of both the tag and the inspection. But it doesn't,
I don't think I was told that.
What do you mean?
Irregular.
Well, it's still the fee for the tag.
It's just
Yeah,
a,
it
all the
is,
same
but
transaction.
it's really not a bad way to handle it.
Well, we're gonna start doing our own inspections.
Right, that was my next question. When is that?
Yeah, I heard that.
There's a class coming up.
We need to go to that.
Absolutely.
I wanna go to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanna know.
where is it gonna be at, Lee, do you think?
TxDOT, or not TxDOT.
In Wichita?
Yeah, here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's not let that pass, because that would be a huge.
Okay.
That was Judy's solution, was to give us a little debit card that we would use at the tax assessor point.
Well, you'd think since we're in the same building as the tax office and the auditor's office, that we could somehow come up with a plan.
We're just gonna give the debit card to the tax assessor collector and let them keep it in their money drawer. And when we come in there, we're gonna get our tax.
It'll be, we can just do one, we don't need four, right?
They need one at each receipt.
Oh, you need four debits?
Well, you're not gonna pass it around the county.
No, we're gonna leave it in the
They're
file.
gonna leave it one card in the.
So they call over there from Electra to wherever to get the.
They just have to mark what the vehicle is, on their precinct 4. They can divide that out.
Do you do yours, you do yours at Burke, right?
But we bring our stuff right now to the auditor's office and wait till they get our tag and we come pick them up.
Oh, see, we just take ours to Kenny right there.
Well, that's because you have money to get, we don't have.
We got a good commission.
You got a banker over there, got a banker over in the back.
Yeah.
I think I saw.
Your loan officer, Ralph.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has good security.
Who's gonna be here Friday?
Yeah.
Chatting.
Who's gonna be here?
I'll be
Friday?
here Friday, Judge.
Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
I may vote.
Okay, so we'll have enough there. Okay, 5 p.m. today is a dedication of the historical marker down at the Hotter Hell offices, if you want to make that. Stacy Cosson thinks that we ought to have a strategic plan. And so sent me this information, and I read through it last night. And, it's not a bad idea, but I'm not sure. I really want to talk to somebody and find out if they've developed those. One of us, it's a lot of detail in there. Unless you plan somebody's in charge, I think it's a little difficult to have, quite honestly, a strategic plan. Except in very broad sense of things. That's kind of what we use the budget for, but she took some time to put that together.
Sure want to consider it. I think the big challenge, Judge, is that our strategic plan can take a drastic change. It changes every 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we're not in control of our own fate. The state legislature is, and that would make it, I'm not saying we don't need it, but I agree with you, it would have to be pretty broad in order to, and what are we actually planning? I mean,
well,
what did you see in the?
I would assume that the plan would allow us to maybe look out in time and say, we'd like to do this remodel coming up here, or we need to keep in mind we're going to do X maybe 2 years from now, and more of an outline of a progression plan of what we should consider budget-wise to do, or at least have that thought process evolving so that you could look down the road and say, well, because of this, that's why we're gonna put the whole retopping the pavement, or the retopping of the parking lot to here, and maybe we need to build an X this year, or 2 years from now instead of here, and this is why. But other than just having a good guesstimate of a time frame, that's what I'm used to seeing, is maybe not so detailed in other areas as it would be just a forecast.
Yeah, and some of these in the counties, they are counties that are growing right now. And so what they're planning on is, you know, what that population will look like in 10 years, and what are they gonna need to do infrastructure wise. We're not particularly unfortunately in that situation at all.
So unfortunately.
What do we have for budget stuff this afternoon?
But general discussions.
Okay, do we have anything?
We have lunch today at Bricktown.
Yeah.
Very
I mean, I was just curious, do we have something, we're gonna come back, or are we just gonna come back and talk?
Well, one of the things that, and Willie had helped me on, and he wants to double proof it as well, but we did have some kind of ideal of the loan amounts for the precincts, as to what we're encumbering there, and the amount of payment dollars annually, as well as the gross amount owed.
I mean leases.
Yeah.
Well, we just got an email just now from Lance Lee that there possibly will be some money to help me on those two bridges.
Oh.
Well, which would be good.
Mm-hmm.
There's your strategic plan right there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
That did make me think of something else. Had a guy make an inquiry today on the land we have down at Wrangler's Retreat, where we took the Martins home. We were gonna get out of things, Jeff, I think that had been, you started
Yes.
that idea, to put all that back out for lease. And
Mhm.
one of the guys is cutting down the trees, because they're nice old oak trees, and selling firewood. There's nothing in our deal that I remember restricts that.
No.
But
Well, do we want to do that? Do we want to go ahead and just take a new series on those? Now we've got 5 or 4.
You got
We had-
3 pieces of property there.
Then we took on the pharmacist's property.
Yeah.
And then we took what's this guy you're saying?
Well, the Walters property.
Walters
and,
property.
Then the lady up the road from there, that house. So there's 3 there, and then there's the one out, off of 367 off Miriam.
Okay, yeah. Well, I can put those together, and we could go out and get a price from, a neighbor may want to bid some of that again, but we need to limit that tree cutting.
Yeah, we need to, I just never dreamed anybody but there.
No.
Things are that thing that says there. But, and the guy couldn't tell me the guy's name that's doing that, but. I'll try to find those leases.
I think I have those, Judge.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
What time this afternoon?
1:30.
Lee, do we have a place to run that distributor?
You said yes?
Well, yeah, it's not quite ready. The rain slowed us down a little.
Well,
We'll schedule it for a week or two.
yeah.
We got about half of our base deal done last week, and it rained us out, so we're making progress, but we're just not quite there.
Right.
But we will be. Boy, I tell you, that rain on all that base we just put in, it really settled her in. It really did. It was putting that fresh concrete out. Man, it's gonna be good. Fix that deal. So a fairly narrow road, we can do it in one pass. Be a good chance to run the rock box and run the distributor.
So maybe I'm messing up, but whenever I chew up a road, I go back with it 20 foot wide. I get that sucker back 1 way down to 16 feet.
Oh, I agree, but if you don't have 20
If
feet
you-
of right of way.
I have one road out there that the fence, literally, driving down the middle of the road, you can put your hand out and touch the fence.
That's not good.
Don't do it.
That's not good.
No, but I'm just saying, it's that close, you could hit the mirrors on your truck to the.
You know, I got into that and I had a Richard Boyd looked at it for me, the Bell Road where, stops being FM and turns into a county road.
Yeah,
it's narrow.
It's narrow, and it's because that, half of the party involved in creating that road didn't give the easement, and so they got half, and really and truly, A&M said if the other party didn't give half, they want theirs back.
This particular road I'm talking about, it's wedge shaped. The fences. I know that personally because I was moving a combine down at one time years ago with a 30-foot header. Thought, oh, we can sneak over around the corner, and you get to looking, and the fence keeps coming in. Then you finally got to stop and back up and go take it off. You can't get through there. I thought, man, well, we make it bigger. No problem. Get 2 or 3 foot on each side.
They ought to make them headers, so you can pick them up over the barbed wire fence.
You can for the most part. It's not if it.
I know.
It does that.
Yeah, I know you're in trouble.
Right, but yeah, I remember that thing, you get looking and that thing's getting closer. And I thought, I had no idea that thing was like that, but it is, it's
You
weird.
know, it's an optical.
You probably
I
put
did
that
too.
when you're striking.
Oh, my God, no, that. I just kept going.
It's 11:45 and we are in recess to reconvene at 1:30.
Thank you.